on October 1st. As the U.S. government ground to a halt, a letter began arriving in mailboxes across America. It was a warning your health insurance costs were set to explode. For many families, that meant an increase of over $1,000 a month. In the halls of a paralyzed Congress, a bitter war of words erupted. One side claimed this was a deliberate attack on working families to fund tax breaks for billionaires. The other side claimed it was all a political game, orchestrated by a leader terrified of his own radical base. This wasn't just another political debate. This was a clash of two completely different realities. Today, we're going to dissect both sides of the story, expose the strategies behind the rhetoric, and ask the question, who is really responsible for the pain hitting your family right now? Welcome to the Trump Shutdown. October 2025. With Republicans in control of the White House, the Senate, and the House, the government is closed, and a critical health care subsidy program has expired. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer argues that Republicans are holding the country hostage over health care. He claims they refused to negotiate, leading to this crisis. On the first day of the shutdown, he took to the Senate floor, and he didn't just talk about budgets. He talked about the bill you are about to pay. Listen closely to how Schumer frames the crisis.
Today is October 1st, and that means something else is happening today. Americans throughout the country are opening their mailboxes and finding letters in there telling them that their health insurance is about to go way, way, way up. The other day, we thought it was about $400 a month that the average American family would pay more in insurance premiums. But it turns out it's even worse than that. A Kaiser report, a nonpartisan, well-respected Kaiser report from yesterday says it's on average of $1,000 a month, and God forbid, even much more for so many Americans. Healthcare premiums, because of what the Republicans have done, is going up 114% a year on average. The average premium is going to more than double. What's the average American family supposed to do with that? What happens on Friday night when the family sits around the kitchen table and says, how are we going to pay the bills, when they see that their insurance could be $1,000 more a month? Health insurance, vital to the parents, the children of the family. What are they going to do? The average American can't afford $1,000 a month or even $400 a month. It happened because our Republican colleagues wanted to give tax breaks to billionaires and cut their health care. It's incredible. It is incredible. 3 times we asked our Republican colleagues to extend the ACA tax credit. 3 times they voted no. Well, it's not too late. They could change. When I met with the president,
A powerful, emotional argument connecting the shutdown directly to your wallet. But Republicans have a completely different story. According to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, this has nothing to do with health care. It's about one man's political fear.
And why? Because Chuck Schumer, who leads the Democrats, is terrified that he's not going to win back his Senate seat. He's afraid that the Marxist far-left corner of his base is going to challenge him in New York. Maybe many of you have noticed New York is probably going to elect a Marxist for mayor. He's terrified by that development. Chuck Schumer is a far-left progressive politician, but he's not far enough left for this base. And so he's got to show a fight against the president. He's got to show that he's fighting Republicans. And because they're playing political games, and they're not doing what he himself said passionately as recently as 6 months ago that must be done, that you passed a standard bipartisan CR. Because he needs political cover, he is dragging the American people through this.
So, what you just witnessed were not two sides of a debate. They were two separate monologues, broadcast from two different political universes, aimed at two different audiences. Let's dissect the strategy of each. First, Schumer's strategy is a masterclass in populist messaging. He intentionally avoids complex budget jargon and instead focuses on a single, terrifying number: a potential $1,000 a month increase in healthcare costs. He didn't pull this number from thin air. He weaponized a report from the well-respected, nonpartisan Kaiser Family Foundation to give his argument a powerful veneer of objective truth. He then creates a simple, powerful narrative with a clear villain. This isn't just a policy disagreement. It's a moral failure. He claims this is happening for one reason: Republicans wanted to give tax breaks to billionaires and cut their health care. It's a classic story of the powerful versus the people. Schumer also goes on the offensive, preemptively striking against the Republican counter-narrative. He calls their claim that Democrats want to give health care dollars to undocumented immigrants a damn lie, stating repeatedly that by law, not $1 of these programs can go to them. This is a tactic to discredit his opponents before they can even solidify their talking points. Is Schumer genuinely fighting for the average family, or is he cynically using a painful healthcare crisis as the most potent political weapon he has to win a shutdown fight? Next, Speaker Johnson's response is equally strategic. Notice, he never once mentions healthcare costs. He doesn't engage with the Kaiser report. He doesn't debate the policy. His strategy is to kill the messenger. He reframes the entire conflict not as a policy dispute, but as a flaw in Chuck Schumer's character. Johnson claims Schumer is terrified not of rising costs for Americans, but of a primary challenge from the Marxist far-left corner of his base. This language isn't for persuasion. It's a high-frequency signal to the conservative base, designed to paint the entire Democratic Party as radical and extreme. Johnson accuses Schumer of hypocrisy, claiming that just 6 months ago, Schumer passionately argued for the very kind of bipartisan bill he is now blocking. This is a direct attempt to neutralize Schumer's moral authority and portray him as a political opportunist. The final goal is to shift the blame. In Johnson's world, the American people are suffering not because of Republican policy, but because one man needs political cover. Is Speaker Johnson revealing a legitimate truth about the internal pressures forcing Schumer's hand, or is this a calculated, cynical diversion to distract the public from the painful and unpopular consequences of their own party's actions? In the end, this clash reveals a disturbing truth about modern American politics. We are no longer just debating different solutions to the same problem. We are debating the nature of reality itself. One side presents data-driven arguments about economic hardship. The other presents a narrative about personal political cowardice. Neither side is trying to convince the other. They are trying to mobilize their base and win the daily news cycle. The government shutdown is no longer seen as a failure of governance, but as a strategic tool in a permanent political war. So, when Speaker Johnson says Schumer is dragging the American people through this, and Schumer says Republicans caused this crisis, who is the average citizen supposed to believe? This brings us to the ultimate question, the one we want you to debate in the comments. At the end of the day, who is truly responsible? The party whose policies lead to the crisis, or the party that refuses to back down, prolonging the pain for political leverage? This is one of the most important questions of our time. Let us know your answer below. And if you want more in-depth analysis that goes beyond the headlines, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell